I was doing some thinking over the last week about how I could possibly follow up the Papa's video. And well, I've decided what's better than reviewing a Flash game series? Reviewing all of Earth's natural land formations. That's right, we're upping the production value for this super serious ranking of something that I am super informed on. So I won't waste your time, let's get right into it, starting with... Plains are like the generic form of land, literally just flat with no trees or anything. All you'll see here is grass or tall grass if the plain's feeling a little crazy that day. The only cool part of plains is that usually lead to other better landforms. This is due to plains being formed by eroding away of water or ice, typically from a higher location. Although I do have to give plains credit for being really good for farming and building on. Besides that, it's very much just like a middle tier, so it's the perfect slot for C tier. Hills are pretty nice. You know, you can't complain about a nice little slope. I think this is very much needed to break up the monotony of just straight plains, although hills can appear anywhere, not just in plains. At least I think so, I don't know. They kind of suck to walk up, but you can also build up a lot of speed going down them. I can only be so nice to hills though, because massive spoiler warning, there's just a cooler, taller version of hills later in this video, but I can't be disrespectful, so in B tier it goes. Deserts are like plains, but everything is dead, and it forgot what grass was. Deserts do have the benefit of being able to have sandhills, which I have to admit are pretty cool. There's also these cool things called oases, which are like a little pond of water in the middle of the desert. So take all the little water that is in the desert and just shove it in one spot, and there you go, perfect. Honestly, I'm not a real big fan of deserts. They just don't really seem like they'd be that fun to be in. And flipping from extremely hot in the day to very cold at night isn't really helping. So honestly, this is going straight into the D tier. Alright, now we're starting to talk with volcanoes. Now, living near a volcano would really suck. But as a concept, you have to admit volcanoes are pretty cool. Volcanoes can either be active, which means they can erupt at any time. Dormant, which means they haven't erupted in a long time, but still could. And finally extinct, which means they can't ever erupt again. Volcanoes shoot out lava. And yes, it is called lava. It's only called magma when it's underground. Anyways, after it erupts, the lava hardens and turns to obsidian. Now, obsidian is pretty cool because you can go to the nether. Wow, a video game reference in my super serious science video? Unsubscribed. Unforgivable. Well, I think volcanoes are cool. We can't just ignore how destructive they are. Which, I'm going to be honest, kind of cringe. So, volcanoes have been demoted to the B tier. Rivers are just water that has eroded the ground due to the sheer amount of water. And honestly, I have nothing bad to say about them. Rivers just give off a really chill vibe that I mess with. There's a reason like every water park has a lazy river. Rivers also really like to connect to other bodies of water. So it's kind of like a highway for fish. It's also a very good source of fresh water for other animals, which is very respectable. Solid A tier right here. Forests are kind of just plains with a bunch of trees. Toss a couple hills in there and maybe a river or two, and you got yourself a nice little forest. Forests are also kind of just like the D1 life supporters. I mean, everything you need to live is in a forest. You got all the plants and animals for food, and like I just said, rivers for water. Another cool thing about forests is shade. This is actually the first land formation in this video that you won't get murdered by the sun in. Instead, you'll just get murdered by a bear. But you know, I can't blame the forest for that, so this is going to be the first S tier of this video. The ocean is kind of scary if you think about it. Like, what do you mean there's just casually 2,000 feet of water below me? But like besides that, they're really cool, but it's also kind of cheating for this video because there's just so much in the ocean that I couldn't really cover it in this little segment. But I will leave you with the fact that according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, we've only explored about 5% of the world's oceans. So, you know, take that as you will. And out of fear of pissing off whatever lives in the ocean, I will also be placing the ocean into S tier. Islands are kind of funny if you think about it, because like, why is there just a random landmass that spawned here? Actually, the islands are formed by a volcano erupting in the ocean or tectonic plates shifting under one another. Yeah, I don't care. Islands are like either the chillest place on Earth or a place that'll just try and kill you the second you step on it. And we also can't forget about islands in like the middle of lakes, aka the most boring place on Earth 99% of the time. And also, depending on how small of an island, it could be very lonely. So just because how unpredictable an island can be, islands gotta go in the B tier. Now, peninsula, those are really cool. Honestly, I don't really know what it is about it, but the idea of being surrounded by water on 3 sides, but still being connected to land, just very interesting. And I think it'd be a great place to live. And you know, I don't remember exactly where I heard this, so take it with a grain of salt. But I do remember being told that a lot of forts were built on peninsulas because of their strategic value or something. So obviously I'm onto something, you know? Like, imagine living in a castle on a peninsula. Literally peak. I wouldn't mind that at all. Another S tier. I'm not gonna lie to you here. Mountains are my favorite land formation. Like, it's not even close. They're just peak. Literally. Mountains are formed by two tectonic plates having a generational beef. So yes, that does mean Mount Everest is the aftermath of one of the longest lasting fights in history. Mountains also happen to be where the highest place on the planet is, which just happens to add their cool factor in my opinion. There's a reason so many people like climb mountains, and that's because the view at the top is one of the greatest things on earth. Literally just like the easiest S tier I've ever given out on this channel, I'm not gonna lie to you. Now to the complete opposite of mountains, caves. These are also just kind of evil rivers because instead of being chill and staying on the surface, they start to dig into the ground more. And to be honest, I don't really have much to say about caves because I'm too scared to go in them. That I also haven't been to like half the places I've said in this video, but go with it. And well, besides, you know, I have explored them in Minecraft. And yes, this is the second Minecraft reference in this video, but like, how could I not? It's a cave, it's Minecraft. To be honest, I really don't know why you would go into a cave besides get like resources. So it's a light C tier for me. You know the phrase everything is bigger in Texas? Well, everything is bigger in jungles. It's literally just the extreme version of a forest. And you know, I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of poisonous stuff in the jungle, but I don't know that for sure. I do know there's a bunch of animals that can easily kill you, but jungles are really cool to look at, so I don't care. And deforestation is cringe. Don't do that. But so, you know, jungles are going to A tier. I view valleys as like the calm before the storm of mountains. Valleys just give off like a very calm vibe. Like, imagine sitting on a valley looking at a mountain, or like even camping on a valley. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a common experience. Everybody likes valleys, but they are a little dependent on mountains for some of their coolness factors, so they have to go into the B tier. A swamp is like a forest if you poured an entire lake over it. And, you know, low-key, I really like lily pads, but I just know that swamps smell awful no matter what. And most of the time, the water looks awful too. But, you know, it could be worse. You could be a marsh. And, you know, like, with that smell, I just can't push anything over a C tier. I'm sorry. Beaches are really nice. They're considered the little strip of land between the ocean and land, which is either sand or rocks. For this video, we're going to be talking about the sand ones for the simple reason that they're better. And to be honest, everybody likes beaches. I haven't ran into a single person that hates a beach. So, you know, they're pretty cool. Crabs are pretty cool too. And I'd be doing them a disservice if I put them anywhere below A tier. Lakes are kind of just like mini oceans that aren't nearly as scary because they're only tens to hundreds of feet deep instead of thousands. Lakes being freshwater instead of saltwater also gives them a boost. Really, the only downside to lakes being not as deep as the ocean is that you're more likely to touch seaweed, and nobody likes that. Lakes also have the ability to freeze over in the winter, which is kind of cool, I guess, but also really dangerous. And you know, I respect lakes. I really think they're a generational talent that shouldn't be disrespected. It's pretty top tier, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, even if like the two downsides, lakes still have to go into A tier. Finally, to end off this video, we have the most unique land formation. Glaciers. I mean, but like at the end of the day, it's kind of just a floating piece of ice in the ocean. I'm sure they're pretty cool for seals and penguins, but I'm not either of those, so not really for me. Glaciers have caused a lot of property damage somehow, which is kind of surprising because I think you'd see them. But you know, what do I know? And I'm feeling generous because who knows how much longer we're going to have glaciers at all, so they're going into the B tier. So yeah, this is my very serious review of definitely every land formation. Don't look it up. And this is kind of all I got for you today. I'd tell you to subscribe, but if this is your first video here, you probably shouldn't. I review video games. Go watch some of my other stuff if you want to subscribe. This is very much out of the norm for me. But yeah, you know, I appreciate your time. See you next time if I do. Thanks for watching.